Now we live. Peace to everybody in the chat. Thank you for your patience as usual. About to get it in. Y'all. I hope y'all ready for the night. About to bring all my guests as usual. Let me get to a quick commercial. Got a commercial from King Simon. I'm gonna get to a quick commercial. Then we're gonna get this thing started, all right? All right, but make sure you hit the like button. That's important. Tell your friends and family we live. Be back in a couple of seconds, family.
It's the new motivational session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. And get my books on Amazon now.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome back my brother Rod Hayes. Welcome back, Rod. Oh, your mic. Rod, your mic.
What's going on with you, brother Rich?
Hey, man, I'm good, man. I'm excited about the show, man. The title of the show got a lot of people excited. So let me tell y'all, man, I was talking to the brother Rod Hayes on the phone the other day. I'm on the phone with the brother for over an hour. Then toward the end of the conversation, the brother casually says, yeah, well, you know, the golden age starts on January 4th, 15th. I'm like, what, 2024? He's like, yeah. I said, nigga, why you ain't been saying this? Yo, what the fuck? Like, he said it so casually. Like, he sent me this video of this dude talking, man. And from what I understand and talking to you further after that in the conversation, this is some real shit. What you're saying is some heavy shit. And what you're saying and what the gentleman is saying, other people are saying, it's man, Rod, like, it's a bold statement to make, number one, because the dude was like Jesus, Buddha, a lot of the great sages of the world, they wanted to make this time that we are about to encounter, but they wasn't able to make it. They incarnated down here just to experience that time, but they wasn't able to experience it. Rod, you got some explaining to do, my brother. We're all listening. We really want to know what's going on, my brother. Talk to me.
So we get an opportunity at the close of every age to flip out of what's called the infinity loop. Remember, we in a dual dimensional matrix in the third, fourth. Remember, I told you they collapsed the fourth dimensional mind matrix into the 3D. This made us live in two dimensions simultaneously, and need sleep now in the 3D because we have to be able to navigate two dimensions, and both of them need certain amount of our divine energy. Okay, now the catching the right time, the muhurta is what it's called. Catching the right time is so difficult because you have to incarnate at a time when in your lifespan, the stars will tell you by the alignments that there's about to be a great alignment with the center of the galaxy. Right? So the sages, they couldn't get out of the infinity loop because the cleanup from the great debauchery had not happened yet.
Right.
Which was based on genetic experiments of human beings in laboratories. Okay. And because of that, the ones who are caretakers of the earth have a new addition to the human family. So they have to figure out how to get this new addition that was denied the rights of ascension because they was never meant to create a sentient being. They was trying to create a Google or a homunculus, right? This is an alchemical creation of a hominid looking thing, but it has no soul essence. Because they kept producing defects in those bottles, they took certain mitochondrial element from the soils in the most fertile rivers of the earth. And the mitochondria of the women is in that soil.
Right.
and it's real rich in those rivers. Nile, the Tigris, the Euphrates, the Mississippi, the Amazon, the Yellow River in China, all of the rivers of the world. And they was able to create a sentient being in the laboratory. That's what Bobby Hemming talked about when he said the Egyptian priest said, we fucked around and made a man. Right? So they already trying to expand the God mind. Now remember, this is all a simulation, and it's a training simulation for the would-be gods to know how to balance out a planet and the solar system of their own. All of the guys that's here on Earth is here for training. This is a simulator, just like you learn how to fly an airplane in a simulator.
Right.
We learning how to balance our internal matrix with the external matrix and find alignments with the stars in order to move the humanity's energy to match the frequency to receive. You got to be in gratitude mode. You can't be in hate mode. You have to be ready to receive just like you're ready to give, and vice versa. This is going to create a frequency in the women, right? They go into what's called automatic mother mode, even if they don't have children, because we're about to receive source codes. At the close of every age, you get DNA upgrades. See, the 12-strand DNA was obsolete. That's why we don't have a 2-strand DNA. It's the upgrade. Just like the Cadillac was a big, bulky machine in the 50s, but now it's a sleek, streamlined automobile. It's a whole different construct because it evolved. So we getting codes that's coming in from the sun saying, hey, it's time for the people to know that they about to get a jolt to their DNA and they upgrade status in the alignments. So the sun's solar storm activity is the sign that's alerting us to prepare for genetic upgrades coming from source code. When we say source, we mean prime creator. So prime creator, we call her Big Mama. The frequency is literally coming in from the 13th zodiac seat, the Big Mama seat of the zodiac. This frequency is gonna talk to your DNA, and it's gonna scan you, and it's gonna upgrade where you can. This gonna kill the selfish gene, right? It's gonna kill the warring gene in the human. Because it's the upgrade. We got to go into a golden age, and we can't take war with us. So when the source codes come in, what looked at like a war effort is going to become some type of cleanup effort or humanitarian aid effort, and we thought they was about to blow us all up. The system has to have an end date before you can start with a new system. When the Maharupa come, it's a source code incoming, and it's only a small window. It's just to correct what the guys in training screwed up.
They said it's a 6-hour window, Rod.
But it's always it always begins at what we call the witching hour, which is also called by the same name. But it's for the individual to upgrade their own self by examining their self, and they get up in the witching hour and do shadow work. Shadow work is you pointing the finger at somebody else because you don't like what they're doing, but you ain't never realized you're doing the same thing. How you gonna condemn him for what you doing? Right? And then you got those people that condemn people with no evidence. Then you got the ones who create false evidence in order to persecute the people that's trying to help the ones who don't know what's going on. Right? So this is why, just like in the wolf pack, you got ranks in the pack. You got the alpha male, the alpha female, the beta, and they go down. The deltas, they're pretty much the general pack members. right? It's the human species has a hierarchy in nature, the same as the animals. You can alter your position by training yourself to be exceptional at something. You become a higher rank than you would be if you just got a job. So the system has two cycles. It got the automatic cycle, which is a predetermined path that you pick for you came. But hard mode is the path of free will. Because now you have to learn how to use your will to navigate the earth and stay in alignment with creation itself. To balance the self with nature is to alter the effects of nature on the ones who fall up under your rank, spiritually speaking. Your spiritual rank is going to allow you to have more control of faculties in the psychic realms that you wouldn't have if your spiritual rank was lower. Right? But you can train your psychic ability to increase your spiritual ranking. So when all of these people coming to try to close out the age, they're going to miss it because it's not time to flip out of the infinity loop.
Right.
How do we know this? Because none of the masters that was knocking on this reality trying to find a way out found it. Now we at the flipping out of the infinity loop. Is the more of us, don't matter what you look like, the more of us that's in the gratitude energy, it don't matter what your religion is, it don't matter what your political affiliation is. If you in the spirit of gratitude, that's when you get the greatest gifts of bounty come in with the source code. The more of us that goes to the gratitude energy, the more we upgrade the collective. Right? So this is what they call balances the scales of Ma'at. In the culture, some people call it voodoo. Some people call it hoodoo. But you work on different levels with the elements in order to cause an effect in the physical reality. It's just cause and effect being operated. We in cycles within cycles. So if we gonna make this jump, somebody have to start unraveling the cycles to create an opening, right? That's called the opener of the way, High John the Conqueror, right? He cutting off the thicket up top, Low John cutting off the thicket at the bottom, right? But they operating on Legba and Ogun energy to clear the path for everybody to make it, right? So they play off each other. That's called the Gemini effect, which is the twin pillars, Joaquin and Boaz, severity and mercy. The one come in with the severe temperament, and he called for the one that can figure it out in mercy. Right? So when we going through our training, we learning how to teach the people, the collective, to receive the greatest benefit in the time of the awakening of the new age and the death of the last one. The Piscean age is over. Aquarius fully comes online on January the 15th. We are officially in the full age of Aquarius. We've been coming into it for over 50 years. Now we there. So when Aquarius come in, it's the renting of the veil of the Great Mother, right? Don't nobody know who the Great Mother is. Well, she here, but we so busy looking for false leads, following false leads, that the enemies lay snares and traps for us. These snares and traps is in the form of lies, right? And kind games. The snare is the lie that you get tripped up on that trips you into the kind game, right? Which is their judiciary, the judges, the tribe of Judah. In a 12 tribe scenario. So you got outsiders trying to get in, but they ain't from nowhere, so they got nowhere to be. So they try to assume a place and say God gave it to them. That's how you know they don't belong there.
Mm-hmm.
Because if God would have gave it to you, you would have been organic to that land. You would have sprung forth from that land just like the trees. But because you don't have a land of your own, that means God didn't intend for you to be here. You extra. And so now the people, it's up to the people to not feed into all of the mechanics of divide and conquer and move their energy into that gratitude energy. Because once this age close out, it's probably going to be shocking off. They're just going to rip the Band-Aid off and tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it's going to look, but it has, when this system ends, there got to be a period of downtime, anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 days. And in that period of downtime, it's the resetting of a new system to arise from the old.
Mm-hmm. So, just to be clear, they say that the 6 hour window, the official, the peak is at 12 noon on the 15th, but that's Indian time. So, like you said, it will hit us during the witching hours because we are behind Indian time. So I don't know. You could calculate it, but I haven't calculated it yet. But the gentleman that you sent me, he said it peaks at 12 noon. So let me ask you this, Rob. So this Muhurta that is described of what's going down on the 15th, they say it's when the earth is well, first of all, what's interesting, Rod, is that everybody's waiting for the eclipse in April, as that being a big cosmic event. We hear about so many different cosmic events. I ain't hear about this from nobody until you told me 2 days ago. So it's just funny how this event is supposed to be such a huge cosmic event, but this has been the most low-key one out there on the internet.
It was the hardest one to do the math on. Because it's subjective to us being prepared, and the source code, the solar winds telling us, are you ready? And we sending feedback. Earth is sending feedback to the sun through Schumann resonance and vibration. They talking.
Right.
Right. But we assume they just two big ass rocks. One is on fire and one on water.
Yeah.
Right. But there's nothing to be further. That's sentience. Because in our raw form, as an etheric being, we are pure solar wind light. We emit the same kind of light the sun in our true form. We got what's called a step down capacitor through the mitochondria, which is the energy source that allows the whole neutron star to function in the human body. It's just like putting the governor on a mini bike so the kid don't ride too fast.
Right.
Same thing. But you don't want this spontaneous combust.
Let me ask you this, Rod. Somebody in the chat is saying Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. He's way off.
No, what they don't understand is Kali Yuga. Kali means the time or the age. Yuga is sleep cycle. We in cycles within cycles. Reference the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. We, in order to get out of the cycles, there are smaller yugas within the greater yugas.
Right.
Right. It's like unlocking a dial clock or a dial lock, where you got to turn this knob, then you got to turn this knob.
Right.
So it's more than one yuga or cycle, and it's more than one Kali Yuga. We in cycles within cycles. And unraveling the cycles, this is why it's only a 6 hour period, because it's been tuned down in cycles until we got from macrocosm to microcosm in the cycles. They tell you that in the Hindu text, that there's yugas within yugas. You know, because it's all cyclic. Everything is cyclic. This is why you got to see the same thing coming out that you seen going in, but the mirror effect being applied, it means the same but different.
Right.
right? I ain't the one called it. It's the ones that send me the receipts. And when I go check what the literature say and match it up to what the stellar alignment says, we're looking at what the solar storms is doing. Everything, all the math is math, and then the receipts receipting.
Right. Right.
Right. This last Kali Yuga or sleep cycle that the guys was in was artificially induced about 12,000 years ago with a nuclear holocaust. A lot of what they thinking is flood strata in the soil is actually mud that was dirt that froze. And when it thawed out, it left the mud looking flood like sediment because the ice and the dirt melt. Right. And so what we not paying attention to is they keep altering the calendars for a reason. Why do they keep changing the calendar? Why we need a Coptic calendar, Julian calendar, an Ethiopian calendar, Gregorian calendar, a Hindu calendar, a Chinese calendar, a Mayan calendar, and they all got different dates. What the fuck is they calculating? They calculating cycles inside of cycles. And then the humans do things that create additional cycles.
Right.
Right? Like now we coming out of a 200-year Yuga cycle that was based on the Kandra Wars. Right? It was a contracted cycle of the guys in order to see who can figure it out. It was Kandra War. Right? Now we out of that cycle. We had to end that cycle before we can end the great cycle. Before we can close out the age of Pisces, we have to fulfill the contract that gave us the layout of what the age of Pisces entailed. We creating this shit by collective agreement from somewhere else. But when we get in here, we don't remember the role that we played in generating this reality and the cycles that goes with it. So then you have to have people come in and give you pieces to the puzzle to help you out. Right? You can go back 100 years or you can go back 1,000 years. And I can just start pointing out people that was giving us pieces to the puzzle.
Right, right.
Some of the people that done us dirty gave us some of the best pieces to the puzzle.
Give me an example.
The Moors. The ones who came over here and left their pheasants in the George Washington Memorial to go into the country and try to take our land. They gave us the navigation equipment in mathematics to navigate the stars and use it with the sciences of Earth that we was already using. Right? When they did that, they screwed themselves. Because now they trying to tell us to disregard this high science and accept the dogma in its place. And when we seen the high science, we don't want the dogma. We want the sacred drift of knowledge that came with the mathematics. And that's what we end up getting from C. Freeman Hill, the metaphysical components of Moorish science. When you add that to the indigenous shamans and the Hayoka priests, we don't have to be taught to be a Hayoka. We don't have to be taught to be a shaman. We born that way. Now you gave us a science that can go with our natural innate artistic ability, and we can use anything to see what you're doing. Right? But most of us, when we in the Yuga state, are more likely to go along with the program of the 3D matrix and forego the responsibilities that would come to being one of the divine ones, one of the golden ones that's walking the earth to facilitate great change at specific times. Many of them run from the job at first, but they make their conditions so adverse that it pushes them right back on the path.
How do you know you a golden one, Rod? Because it ain't about just being black. At this point, we know that.
Well, you know that you're a golden one because your blood tell you This is why they tell you, we don't enter communication with your DNA. It's going to tell you, but you have to learn how to read your higher consciousness and translate it into 3D English because we so absorbed by three-dimensional matrix. And that's the part that don't nobody want because it requires a certain amount of work. And when people see that kind of work ahead of them, they don't realize if they take a step today, before they know it, they'll be there.
Right.
But they'd rather go work 50 years at the plant and never advance their spiritual and mental development than to advance that, work 10 years at the plant and come out and be a powerhouse that's able to change the world. Right? So ain't nothing wrong with working at the plant. It's use it for a stepping stone. Have a bigger dream that you can work toward than just being a worker.
Right.
Right. But nobody's teaching our children this. Right. Nobody's teaching them the unlimited potential that they can tap into by applying discipline and willpower. So they go on the predestined path. And a lot of them, if they get too far into the predestined path, it cuts off early. And we might experience in the 3D reality as a teenager got murdered. Or he died in a tragic car accident. We had got so far into this predestination and went foregone his divinity. So now he has to reset, go back out the game. It's just like getting shot in one of them video games. You reset, you come back, and then you finish the game.
Right.
Right. So the ancient ones know this. It's the ones who are the younger gods that's here to learn on University Earth that got trapped by the bad kids in the school, the problem child that didn't want to learn nothing. That just wanted to upset the school and tried to take over. Now the dean is here, right? And he's talking to the teachers, talking about what happened to the school. I was only gone for a minute. And they saying these kids came in. We don't know where these motherfuckers came from. I think they was from the west side of Chicago, probably Cabrini Green, and they just took this motherfucker over, and the teachers couldn't do nothing because they was going upside their head. Right? Because that's basically what happened. The bad kids took over the university.
Right.
Right. So now that they took it over, the dean got to figure out a way to put the university back in order. And the only way to put it back in order is put the power back to the proper dynamic. That's the great mother. Right? So when we get into a certain frequency of energy, then that frequency will allow us to receive greater advancements from source codes that's going to be coming in.
What culture, the Mahuta, what culture is that from and what does it mean, Rod? This 6 hour window.
That's a Hindu culture.
Hindu.
And it really means the time of the gods or the time of Brahma, which is the creator.
Right.
Right. It's the time of the new beginning, the new creation. Now they have many Marutas. They come on a daily basis, but those for individuals to use it to their advantage to develop. But most of us don't know the science to it. Right. But when the great one comes, the one that lasts for 6 hours on one day, that's when all of the other cycles have been readjusted. We done went through them all. Somebody recognized it, pointed it out to the masses, and now they beginning to see that the changes is imminent. They beginning to see through the illusion of the political drama and the Hollywood theatrics. The system is using those same two fields of distraction to now start to give you the truth. Right? You see that all of the newscasters is becoming new. Right? A lot of people not paying these faces no attention. They watch the news every day and don't realize that they got new faces on major programs. That's because they're about to do what's called the big disclosure. Now, I don't know if they're going to do the disclosure Monday, but I do know that the energy shifts with these astrological events.
What should we do Monday, Rod? What should we be doing individually or collectively when this 6 hour window appears? When like they say an Earth is aligned at a galactic geometric line to the center of the Milky Way galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Now
That's
that's
when
some
you
hella
get. That's when you get source codes.
right.
So it's like it's a straight open path from
Straight up.
Big Mama to you. The
Talk,
most important thing is
talking
to be in that. Yeah.
talking
And
all
the women already connected direct through the vagina. Her uterus is the microcosm of creation, which is the macrocosm, which is the direct phone line. They said Jesus on the main line.
Yeah.
What they talking about? ISIS.
Right.
The main line is the uterus. It's the portal.
Right.
You can holler in the portal on one end and somebody on the other end can hear you. It's just that you don't know they can hear you.
Got a question, Rod.
Mm-hmm.
We often refer to the woman's yoni as the portal. Another part of the woman that we look at when we're talking about sexual energy is a woman's breast. Now, when you say Milky Way galaxy, I'm thinking about the breast.
Right,
So,
because that's also the symbol for nourishment. Right now, if you're gonna be in the land of milk and honey, you got to be prepared to get squirted by a breast.
Ooh.
And shit on by a bee.
Shit on by a bee. Oh man,
that's what happened. Beekeepers know what I'm talking about. You're gonna get shit on by a bee. One of them gonna sting your ass. Right, but it's the right one that sting you at the right time to activate you to move up into the forefront. Right, so when we talk about the breast, this is critical in pair bonding mother to child, and they took it out of the doula's hands and put it in Western medicine to interfere with the pair bonding process. They called us ants because they say we rally around Big Mama like ants rally around the queen.
Right.
Right? Because when we was all called to war, all tribes on deck. They came behind us when we went to fight in the Gullah Wars and slaughtered our families. Right? So we get home, we think we going back home to home and we going home to a massacre. All you got to do is look up Native massacres. Right. They told you they massacred us, right? Because we was kicking their ass in the Gullah War.
Sister said we about to get the formula, right? We about to get the formula. If you know what I mean, from the Milky Way galaxy. I hear you, Copper Goddess. We about to get the formula.
They the ones gonna be the first recipients of the change. They gonna feel it first with women's intuition, because women intuition is a pineal connection to the portal.
Right.
Right. So Source is looking out for them the same way they look out for their child. Right. Women that was fucked up last year, they about to be all the way get right this year.
Yeah.
The energy is going to change the way that they interact with each other and with the men.
Right.
It's going to change a lot of people for the better. Some people is just going to erase them. All I can say is sorry about their damn luck.
Yeah.
They should have did their work. They flunked out. There's a whole lot of flunk outs. Right? So it's all kind of aids, assistance that you get on your journey.
Right.
Most of us overlook the old wino who's dropping jewels. He's one of the pauper gods. But because he over there drunk, you assume he has no intrinsic value that can advance your life. He just don't want to play in the game. He chooses to be at the bottom in order to hold this motherfucker up. He's strong enough to take the suffering, stronger than most of us. Yep. It's just gonna get stronger and stronger. The women gonna get more attractive to us, the ones that like women. We gonna they as God is glow up called it, they gonna be juicy than the motherfucker.
Juicy. Oh man. What else can you tell me? What did the ancients, for those who don't know, Rod, what did the ancient writings, whether it's ancient Kemet? Well, we know ancient Kemet, a lot of people know about Newt and all of that, but what did some of the other cultures say about the Milky Way galaxy? Because we always hear about brother Rod got disconnected. Yeah, you hear me, Rod?
Yeah, what did the other cultures say about the Milky Way galaxy?
If you the Hindu, like the Hindus, like since we're in the Hindu culture right now, what did the Hindus say about the Milky Way galaxy?
Well, it's one of the newer galaxies in the collection, right? So it's coming into on a different frequency, and it was an isolated part of the creation where they just now in galactic time is fairly new. The Big Bang was just turning on the hologram, right? Yes. So now we get messages from 30 million years ago. Somebody know how to send us a message into the future from 30 million years ago. We talked about that before, right? So if they know how to send us a message into the future, they know that at some point in the future, we're going to be advanced as they were in the past, right? And the greatest advancement is to activate the Tesla coil-like dynamic of the women and their connection to the earth. Because we're talking about bringing heaven to earth again. We're talking about expelling the components of hell from earth. Right? So we, in layman's terms or in commoners terms, we talking about bringing the golden age out of a dark age, out of the chapter of misery, going to the payout of the misery into the chapter of joy. That means all the pauper guys get up now.
Oh shit.
Right. You see winos at an alarming rate. Stop drinking wine. Crackheads stop smoking crack. Heroin addicts stop using heroin. You're like, what the hell going on? Right? It's because the pauper guys that was using those substances to keep them at the bottom, they finna get their inheritance, and then like, fuck it, let's go get paid. We can get another kind of high now. It's called traveling the world to see the different sights.
Right.
Pick up the love energy everywhere we go. Right? Because people are going to recognize that the pauper guys took the suffering so that the rest of them ain't have to, and then they're going to show gratitude. It's called pre-karma and the cashing in of the pre-karma.
Oh, speaking of showing gratitude, Rod, this sister here sent a super chat and she wanted to know let me just put this up here real quick before I forget. $ sick ape. Yeah, shout out to Kata Leia's World. I appreciate the super chat. You asked for the brother. We cash out. Let me just put this on the screen while the brother talk. For those who want to support the brother, and a couple of y'all asked about the brother's cash app. Show love to the brother Rod Hayes with this groundbreaking information. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So the women make a grid around the planet. They forgot because the warring patriarchs removed the priestesses from their thrones, and they replaced them with this homosexual pedophile cult. Right? They run around dressed in drag, call themselves priests. Nobody's never noticed that all of them wearing dresses. What priesthood don't wear dresses? Indigenous priests. The shamans don't wear dresses. They might wear a loincloth made out of grass. They might make one made out of leather, right? They might have buckskin slacks on and a buckskin jacket, but they don't wear dresses. Right. Because they know that the priestesses were sacred to the earth, and for them to be re-alerted to their power, is to tie them back into the earth. And you got the symbol right there.
Oh, yeah.
You see the triple knot in the Heka?
Yeah.
Right? Those hands, those upright hands is the symbol for Heka. Heka is an ancient subset of the temple magic of Kemet, which came from over here. A lot of people think that Egypt was the university. That was Hollywood. The university was in Arizona, in the Grand Canyon, at the original temple of Isis. This is why they find Egyptian artifacts and Buddhist artifacts over there. This shit ain't nothing new. This is just another cycle.
Woo. You
right?
going in right.
if we gonna ever break and snap free from the imprisoned mind program, the miseducation of the Negro, all we have to do is remember when the energy shift, we would like for our women to be in the energy of gratitude. That's it. Because they gonna be the first ones to receive the source code. So when they get your semen to make your next son, they gonna scan your DNA, and then they gonna patch in what need to be fixed for the future.
Ooh,
to make your son better than you was.
Ooh.
Right? That's their job. That's what women do when they gestate. They matching up genetics. They choosing traits.
Right.
Right. But because nobody's telling them what they doing, right? They don't know that when they nose swell up, they taking skin particles out of the air, reconstructing the physical body of a baby in their uterus.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that because they were purposely denied the knowledge of self. This is why Elijah Muhammad was so adamant about getting knowledge of self. Knowledge of self ain't just talking about we came on no goddamn slave ship, was in slavery, and now we trying to find a way. And that's not knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is how your body works. How do your mind work? Do you know how you think that will help you learn better? That's all knowledge of self. Right? How do the outside world apply to what you experience in your internal world? Right? Because it's as above, so below, as within, so without. If you know what ails you, you know what ails the world. If you can figure out how to fix it in you, you can figure out how to solve the problem in the world. That's all it is, a game of problem solving.
Right.
Right? So when we start teaching our children, they took critical thinking and practical problem solving out of the curriculum. It was hardwired in the curriculum of our training and educational programming. Right? Critical thinking and practical problem solving is one of the first things that you impress upon a child in order for them to bring their internal greatness out, their genius within. That brilliance that the school system is stifling can be overrode by an adult who's aware that the child got a greater light within him. All he got to do is give him the rules to the game and he can handle it from there.
Right, right.
Right. And that critical thinking and practical problem solving used to be it used to be in all of our curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The preterma, that's what's when the pauper guys take on the suffering. That's when they say the first should be last and the last shall be first. Mm-hmm. Right. You have to be last at the close of the age because you got to be first at the opening of the new age, the ancient ones.
Right.
Right. And you have to be properly compensated according to the law of compensation. Mm-hmm. If you're not properly compensated, then you can't properly perform your function. Mm-hmm. And this is what causes the rapid decay of a society like America. The inflation undermine what a person rightfully deserved for their work, for their labor. Because of that, it caused the industrial America to begin to decay. So corporate America have to try to bandage and patch it by downsizing and coming up with new ways to get the work done because they're not properly compensating the people. Right. Right. So they need to be of service. But they need to be of service to the workers that produce the products for them first in order to be effectively a service to the collective of the people. This is why we unionize. Mm-hmm. Right? This all goes to the cycles within cycles,
Right.
right? And a good researcher on the Indian historical record is Michael Cremo, who wrote in Forbidden Knowledge. That's a good reference for people to look at to understand. None of this stuff is new. There's nothing new under the sun. We do this every time. We got to close out the old age in order to bring in a new age. And the responsibility falls on the ancient ones to come back at the close of the age, figure out what the younger gods did, and fix that shit. That's it. And the more you fix, the more people can be fixed.
Right, right.
Right? And this is why they say self-sacrifice was the highest form of sacrifice, because what you do to the self-sacrifices you make to make yourself better end up benefit more people than just you.
And just you, yeah.
And the more people you benefit, the greater your value is in the spiritual arena. It has nothing to do with where you born at. It's just that you born where you supposed to be according to the alignment of the stars and the time of day. They look at your birth certificate or your birth manifest, and they know where every chief is born at. That's how the COINTELPRO was being able to be an operative and functional tool to oppress the people of the land. It couldn't work no other way if they didn't know where we were going to surface.
How do they find out who the chief is from the birth certificate? What is it on the birth certificate?
They looking at the time of day, the ley line you was born on, and which star is magnetically polarized to that ley line. Every metropolis is on an energy center. Everyone on Earth. In some of the energy centers, the metropolises have faded out with time. But you still have the remnant present.
Right.
To show you that we in cycles. So now they can look at which star is affecting or is being affected by the longitude, latitude, and triangulate. A chief's going to be born on this day according to the alignment of the stars. Remember when they told the story of the three wise men?
Yeah.
They knew that a king was born how? Because it was in the stars. Right? So the Pleiadian belt represents the three kings or the three wise men, right? But under the original priesthood, it represented the three sisters, right? And the three sisters operate on a game called Four Corner Shuffle. The Four Corner Shuffle is the 4X chromosomes. And the 4 and the 3 is the bands of the Pleiades, which is the seven sister seal. Right? So when the child is being blessed, he got to be blessed by seven sisters. They don't have to be blood sisters. They just have to have a blood tied to the land. Seven matriarchs. Right? So the three sisters flip you to the seven sisters on a four corner shuffle in the family dynamic in order to reset the royal family. In order to bring the ancient ones back to the forefront, there's a mathematical formula. Right? And it's through these formulas that we return the sequence of genetics in its alignment to the energy of the ancient one that was here before. But it's all cycles within cycles, layers on layers.
Hey, Rod, what happens to Enlil during the Golden Age?
Enlil is going to be they're going to do him bad. Apparently, they're going to let him decay. That means they're going to lock him into a human body that once he decay, he fade away. He don't exist no more. It's a ruthless form of punishment for the most worst of the eternal ones to turn them mortal. In their mortality, they can't restructure the spiritual matrix. That is like an energy. I don't even read them like people. When I say Enlil, I'm talking about a frequency.
Frequency, right.
When I say Inky, I'm talking about a masculine earth frequency. Inky mean Earth Lord. Right? But the owner of the earth is not a man. The owner of the earth is the women, right? And the men is the ones who protect the women while they take care of the earth. And we carry out the heavy lifting and they carry out the decorating. What flora and fauna go over here? Right? What new animals should we create? Go tell the scientist guys.
Right.
Practice your ability to create by creating a new animal.
Right.
We need something big like a horse with a head like a dog and a tail like a shark.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck we need it for, but it looked different. Right? We had all kind of creatures of every possible imagination it's been here. Right? In this cycle that we in, nobody was allowed to come in what they call today mythical form. Right? But if you look close, you can see the mythical form peering through their human shell.
What you mean?
You can see the fairies. They look like little dainty cute girls, but they adults. And they got male fairies too. They little bitty guys, and they look like Prince. Right? And you have ogres, right? They look obese and big, and their shoulders lean to the floor, and they always got a roll around their neck. Right? You can see the old mythical creature peering through the human form because the spiritual form is trying to conform to the physical matrix.
That's deep, man. Wow.
Right? You can look at certain people and you can tell they totem animal because they look like them. Right? One dude might look like a monkey. Another dude might look like a dog. Another dude might look like a bird. Right? But you're looking at the impression of the strongest totem in their bloodline peering through their human flesh. This is why they say the eyes are the window to the soul. Right? And if your heart is pure and your mind is open, you can see through the soul of an individual straight into your own. We all connected, but we got to remember that.
I want everybody to have a clear understanding of what you're saying, Rod. I want to share this message from a brother who maybe don't understand what you're saying, and hopefully we could understand each other. He says, shit don't make sense. You telling men their whole existence is to fight, but women own some shit that can't defend. This narrative is misleading and divisive.
No, he's taking that totally out of context. He's looking at that from the patriarchal view. That's how patriarchally, this is how we taught to look at this dynamic of a matriarchy. Right? Women decided to bring men to Earth. It was a time we wasn't here. All of the Y chromosomes on the Earth trace back like 36,000 years ago. Who the fuck was making babies before that? It had to be making some babies because it was people before that, but they was all female. Right? But we don't want to talk about that. The reality is we ain't just here to fight. We also here to be lovers. We fighting to make our war story into a love story. That's the real fight. Right? That's the building of the self. That's the study to show thyself approved. Right? You can't reap the rewards of heaven without doing the work. And the rewards of heaven is the acceptance of the women. Can you imagine a world that you walking around as a man and none of the women want you? You're going to be the maddest motherfucker out there. If you a man, you walking around on earth, all these women and don't none of them want you. Because you ain't did nothing with yourself to make yourself of any value to anybody, including yourself. The spiritual aspect of the protecting the women is really for the men to do their shadow work so that you can be the best possible mate for the female that selects you. Right? Because no matter what you think, you don't choose her, she choose you. You might think you choose her because she was walking a certain way and got your attention. You think she didn't know she was getting your attention when she walked that way? Right? They know they got an instinct. And they know how to lure the men that's best for what they want to produce for the future. They make alliances. Every man can't be polygamous. Just like every man ain't meant to be monogamous. You got levels to this shit. Right? If he think that that all we supposed to do is go out and have war, then he's got it all mixed up. It's a symbiosis. It's one hand washes the other. We do one thing, they do a different thing, but the value is the same if you balance, right? So we as men, we do the heavy lifting because we was made to lift heavier weight. That's why our muscle and bone density is greater. It don't mean she can't lift nothing heavy. I know some women that can outlift most of these dudes, but that's not what we mean. We mean gender roles. We mean divine masculine meets divine feminine. And then they do this celestial dance in the universe in their heart. Mm-hmm. This is what we're talking about, right? The labor. Women work in the matriarchy just like men work. It's just that they decide how a different way of work might be more suitable. Some of them want to work on the farm, while other ones want to work in the city. Right? But under the patriarchy, women just started working 75, 80 years ago because of World War II. Mm-hmm. Before that, it wasn't no motherfucking Susie the Builder. They was out there, but the patriarchy didn't respect that shit. In the matriarchy, everybody get what they earn according to their output. The one who do the most work is gonna get the greatest reward because he earned it, not because he better than nobody. Ain't no big eyes and no little U's in the matriarchy. Big mama say don't take sides in other people's bullshit. But we always got our nose taking sides in other folks' bullshit and wonder why shit be fucked up all the time. We got to get back to where we understand that by being in a certain frequency, we can help more people by not pouring shit on top of motherfucking flowers. The shit go under the flower. The flower blossom from the shit, but you ain't supposed to put the shit on top of the flower because you smother the flower with shit. Right? So people be into the game of life without following no rules and think they should win. Mm-hmm. They don't do no self-improvement, but they want all the shit that the people that improve they self earned. That's some babbling idiot shit to me. Mm-hmm. Right? But it falls back to the load is heaviest for the strongest because he can take the most weight. Mm-hmm.
This direct line to source code, this 6-hour window that's happening January 15th. When was the last time this happened, Rod? When we had this alignment that we're seeing that's happening in a couple of days?
Like 36,000 years ago.
36,000, okay.
Roughly. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It only happened every so often. But remember, even when it's time for it to come close, if the people haven't unlocked enough codes, it'll flip them back into the infinity loop. We're just trying to get the ascension. We're not trying to stay in the infinity loop. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In that case, I could have just kept doing what I was doing. Somebody got to tell these people, and ain't nobody telling them. Just shift your energy from war energy to love energy. Turn your war story into a love story in your heart and your mind. When the frequency hits you, it's going to give you the Holy Ghost.
Yo, the dude, I was watching a video. The dude was saying that that the power that's going to be generated during this window, during this time, is it's more powerful than any force in all the galaxies, all the universes. It's the most powerful force that's going to be produced.
It's
So
the
if you,
source code.
yeah, yeah.
It's the source code.
The other extraterrestrials, do they have access to source code? Anunnakis, Palladians, and all these other creatures that we hear
They
about that we
they
think are
on a
so.
different clock though. They on a different clock. They on a different clock because they from a different star system.
Okay.
When they from a different star system, they align to when the center of the universe line up to their star system or planet,
Uh,
right? And the same way you have the 100 monkey effect, right? If all of the humans decide there's an advantageous, or if a certain amount of them decide there's a advantageous survival mechanism that we could all benefit from, the 100 monkey effect will feed it to the great egregore or universal mind or the collective unconscious of the people.
mm,
And we need the women because they are literally synced to the earth through mitochondria, and they sponsor us through mitochondria,
right.
right? And they're going to get source code data upgrades before the men because they have to feed them through them to us.
Right.
Right? Because they are the ones who's filtering this source code through the earth. So the more sisters be in that gratitude, love energy, if it was up to me, I'd tell every female in America and around the world, Monday spa day.
Oh, Monday spot it.
Monday spa day. All of them. Every last one of them. Monday is spa day. Go, relax, let your hair down, sit in the hot tub, jacuzzi, get a massage. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you do on spa day, get your fingernails done, primp your hair, go put your weave in, whatever. Whatever make you feel the greatest feminine feeling in your heart. That's what you should be doing when these source codes come in. Because that's how you going to catch them and hold them the greatest. That'd be if it was up to me. But you know, people tend to be thinking that people that say stuff like that, oh, he a cult leader. Nope. That's why I don't be at nobody gatherings. They can't say I had nobody meet me nowhere. If a motherfucker say I did something to them, I guarantee you they came where I'm at.
Oh man.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not, my circle is so goddamn small. I move like a team, but it's just me. It's just me in the cave of the ancient. I'm just giving y'all shit that I've been knowing for fucking 25 years. Trying to help the people teach each other to get caught up and see the enemy for what it is. The enemy is really a frequency. And the source code is our opportunity to alter the frequency to flip out of the infinity loop.
Right.
And the first antennas is going to be the females. And then we're going to all have this better reality than we have now because this one is defunct. It's over with. It's just all a shell being played out in a masquerade in order to keep the people behind schedule. It's not working. They waking up fast as hell.
The brothers want to know, what should men do? What should the men do?
The men should be shifting their energy from the wartime fight energy to like industrious energy, thinking energy, reading books, focusing on your intellectual development and your spiritual development. If you focus on that and you got a woman that's in her femininity, y'all will be able to cycle the energy between each other faster. For the ones who single, your energy is going to come from your mothers and your sister. Your mother is the one who attracts your female through your heart chakra.
Some deep shit. You say your mama attracts your female through your heart chakra?
Yeah. And the rule is, if this is where the Oedipus complex come from, if she don't love you unconditionally like your mama do, and your value in your mama's eyes is great, she can't have you. Your mama gonna make sure you don't end up with a rotten bitch. Right? So that's why it's always best to work on the self, because when the women watching you and they got a beehive network of psychic connection, they talk about you subconsciously and you don't even know it. They having a whole dialogue about how you walk, your body structure, your gait. They talking about how strong you look or how weak you look. If the bags under your eyes show that you don't get enough rest, what would be the cause of that? They analyzing you all day long. Every woman that you see is feeding her the same information to the next woman they see. And they all building on to your value. This is what make the women be attracted to a man.
You know what's funny, Rod? That is what you was just saying. I was just thinking that's the brother's main complaint about what they call modern woman is that they ain't nothing like their mama. So they don't want to get with the woman because they know what their mama brought to the table, and they like this bitch here ain't doing nothing like my mama was doing. So I don't even want to mess with these women out. That's I hear that a lot from brothers these days. Like
You
these women
know,
ain't got nothing on my mama.
if you go to Noble Drew Ali and he's carrying the woman, lifting her above the cares of the world and moving her on to the dry land,
Yeah.
right? And it says to uplift fallen humanity. Because the patriarch stole the knowledge from the sisters, it's up to us to teach them what we need in order for us to be better men.
Wow. Okay.
And if you can raise her consciousness level, it'll also affect your spiritual development and your mitochondrial connection. No, she's probably, because of the miseducation and the division of the family, she's not going to be, none of these women is going to be what those women of old were.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
But she will customize herself for the right man. So she might not come in with the same value that your mama had, but if she see your value, she's going to raise her personal value to match yours. And your value is determined by how much self-work you do. Do you work out? Do you know how to fix your own food? Do you know how to wash your own clothes? Do you know how to take care of your whole self, where that's not a responsibility but a privilege? Soon as you take it from responsibility and you delegate it as a privilege, I don't need no motherfucker. I can take care of me. My mama taught me how to wash my clothes, clean my house, wash my dishes, scrub under my sink. She taught me all that stuff. She said, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. So whatever woman you get, she don't have to know. She'll know that you got some worth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I couldn't understand why I had to stay in the kitchen and cook while my brothers was outside working on mechanics with Pops. I'm in the kitchen cooking with my mama. She's teaching me something.
Mm-hmm.
She's teaching me that a cake need ingredients, and if you put the wrong ingredients in, it won't taste right. Right? Well, I don't need no salt in no cake because I got sugar. You don't put that salt in that cake ain't gonna taste right. The salt gonna balance those sweets out with the grains that you put into the food. Right? I don't need no egg. I got milk. That motherfucker gonna fall apart. It ain't gonna even stick together. Right? When you learn these things, it's also teaching you alchemy. Right? When you are masculine, when you're going into the masculine, you're thinking left brain already anyway. The learning to cook by recipe is learning alchemy in the left brain, but you being taught from the right side. The mother is teaching you. And this is why mama's the master.
Right.
And the master gonna raise a master.
Let's get to a couple of questions before we get out of here, Rod. Listen, man, this is fire, Rod. I definitely appreciate you coming on here, man, and dropping it like this, man. Man, family, I was talking to this brother, man. We got like I was gonna do like 3 other shows before this show. We was talking about the black Neanderthals. We was talking about the what's that called? The
Cro-Magnon.
The Cro-Magnon, the nuclear winter. Rod was breaking out all types of shit to me on the phone, and then right before we hung up, he brought this up, and I'm like, yo, Rod, we gotta talk about this. So yeah, it is what it is, man. I appreciate this talk. I'm excited. These are like some exciting times we live in, family. Let's get to a couple of questions. Let me see what's going on. Let me hit up the super chat first. These are more okay. Peace gods, Chief Rod. When you say to forget war, learn to love, should we still learn technical awareness in the martial arts? How do we deal with those types of adversaries out of love?
Look, it's better to be a warrior working in the fields than to be a farmer in the fight. You understand what I'm saying? You still, those things is self-development tools. You can still use the study and the warfare and the learning of combat as a tool of self-development, which is shifting you into your spiritual developmental mindset. Then the martial arts is also a dance. It's a ballet. Like when you learn Tai Chi, it's a ballet. But the trick is to turn the ballet into Demok, the death touch. You have to know the shifting of the energy. But once you learn the ballet, you know the martial art. You just got to know how to shift it from ballet to combat, right? So, warriors learn the war and then they fight for the love. That's what the whole idea of shifting from your war story to your love story comes into play. It's the delirium of the saints with the energy frequency of the love, the admiration. So it don't mean that you shouldn't learn how to defend. It just means that while the frequency is upgrading, you need to be in a higher conscious state, an elevated mental, emotional state to receive the greatest benefit. That's all.
Okay, excellent. Mia sent me says, what percentage of women are part of the 144,000?
The 144,000 is a Masonic biblical code, and it has nothing to do with what's really about to happen. It's 12 times 1,200 that make the 144,000. And all that is the zodiacs, the 12 zodiac seats, and it's telling you that it need a certain amount of them at each zodiac sign on a certain frequency. But it's the code. The code means one angel sent. Thou sent one angel. But they use it as 144,000 as an anagram in a numerical homonym. It's trickery in the highest degree.
Indeed. Rod, they want to know this sister here says, will a black mama attract a white woman to her son?
If she don't want her son to be part of the racist agenda, she will. If she think that girl gonna love her son unconditionally, that's more important than what she look like.
When you talk about the source codes and women being an antenna, is this something that more so applies to the black women in the world, or is this all women across the spectrum?
Well, every uterus is in mitochondria is the recipients of the source code by nation. The first nation or the ancient ones are those dark mothers, those black Madonnas. It's 12 daughters of Isis that represent the other ethnic groups of people around the world. And they are different skin tones and hair textures. Their big mamas will receive source codes the same as our big mamas. Our big mamas will just get more data because they have a stronger connection to both creation and the earth. They operating by the addition of the higher carbon density, which is the primordial noon or dark matter of the great mother.
Right.
So that's why they get the data, the most data first, because they are more closely tied to first creation.
Right. Definitely, definitely. Let's see, let's see. Shout out to Afro Goddess. She wants to know what goddess will rule over the golden age.
Uh, it will start, but the goddesses don't always choose to rule the entire duration, and they pass it like a baton to one of their sisters, right? So you will look at the hierarchy that they have in Egypt. So you have Aset, that's known as Isis. She is the first at the top of the pyramid of sisters that's heirs to the throne. Second is Sekhmet. Sekhmet, no, it's Het Heru, right? The male side, Heru is the heir. On the female side, Het Heru is the heir. She's the next in line, and then Sekhmet, right? Now, Sekhmet can come in ahead of Het Heru if she's coming in wartime as a war priestess, right? But if she come in peacetime, it'll come through Het Heru, the peace goddess, right? So they have different functions, but as they, so it's no one, the titles are, those seats are titles for the next in line sequencing of the hierarchy. All of those names you hear out of Egypt, Ra, Osiris, Set, Isis, Het Heru or Hathor, Set, those are titles. And they represented by, most of the time, a totem animal, and some of them are represented by a human-like god form with some type of magical implements from the Heka associated with them as well.
This brother wants to know, are you really losing a fraction of your prana every time you ejaculate, or can go do practice to replenish with no negatives even if you ejaculate?
Look, you have practices for different purposes. The real purpose of learning the semen retention is to be able to bring the waterfalls of heaven down before you lose your erection. In other words, you're supposed to make the female orgasm before you orgasm, or else she won't reach a climax and you complicate the energy, which comes out in your relationship as a bitter ass woman. Right? So you ejaculating, your body gonna replenish that energy. It has to. As long as your mitochondrial is working properly, you will always replenish the energy that you surrender into the world. Right? So the semen retention is a training program to become a more valued sexual partner for your mate. Kama Sutra.
I love how you keep talking about this training program rather than a simulation. It makes total sense. That whole concept resonated a lot with me, man. When you think about our purpose being down here, and when you think about the planes and the simulation, and you act like you flying a plane, but you're really not. That should make total sense, man. Let's do. We're gonna do about 3 more questions. You got time for 3 more questions, Rod?
I'm here.
All right. Let's do about 3 more questions. Somebody wants to know, will you be teaching any classes? This is not one of the 3 questions, but will you be teaching any classes, Rod?
When we come back on, when our system come online, because they ain't finna get me caught up in this cult shit. so when our system come back online, yeah, I'm gonna be having rites of passage programs. I'm gonna be training teachers and doulas. We're gonna be doing we're gonna have a big, like a university of holistic medicine, inviting doctors from around the world to come and teach what they know. We're gonna be sending doulas around the world to go work with other doulas in order to learn the ancient birthing practices and upgrade them and implement them into modern healthcare. We're going to be training children to use their psychic abilities at an earlier age so that they can be a bigger powerhouse for the future. So all this stuff is going to be part of the programs when our system come online. But as long as these people is in power, I ain't finna put my head out there like that. I teach online. They won't never call me a cult leader and come running up in this motherfucker with the SWAT team.
Crazy, man.
They keep calling me Rod the Madman. As long as they don't call me a cult leader, I'm cool.
Oh man. Let's see. Okay, Rod. Felicia wants to know: do you have to be in the sunlight to get the codes? Weather has been cloudy in California, Rod.
Look, them codes coming in.
Right.
The sun codes already been coming in. They've been coming in on solar flares and wind and solar storms for the last year and a half. And people been going through different roller coasters of ascension symptoms that they thinking they've been sick. They weren't sick, they was getting upgraded.
Yeah.
And when the sickness go away, you feel better than you did before you were sick. All of this is part of it. Some people might choose to be breatharians after this. Some people might not. Right? But the whole thing is to find the true balance of Earth between the men, the women, and the universe. The alignment becomes critical when you download. The source code can penetrate everything that you see. The solar rays, they go straight to the core of the Earth and filter through the people going in and coming out, because the Earth is the sun is asking the Earth a question about the people. So those are your incoming solar flares and solar storms. And when the Earth answers, it sends a frequency back through the people that delivers the answer back to the center of the solar system. Then when the source codes come in, they come in directly from prime source center of the galaxy, right? This is where the greatest draw is to the central point in our little part of creation called the Milky Way. Only thing I can't figure out is who took the fucking picture of the Milky Way. I can't figure that shit out. We in the Milky Way. That's like trying to take a picture of the outside of your house from being inside. How the hell they do that? I ain't figured it out yet.
So, Rod, so the people in me I could understand this better. Right. So we got source code, that's probably from the prime creator, Big Mama, and we got sun codes. If we're getting the source code, that's a direct communication. What relationship does the sun code have to the source code? You know, like, is Big Mama, is that her brother? Is that her nephew? Is that her cousin? Like, who would sun be?
So to use it in the same way that the Masons use it, Fiat Lux, let there be light, is the sun. That's the widow's son. The source, that's Big Mama. That's the widow. They work together. Nothing can move in the changing of the guard until the widow find her son, or vice versa. Right? That's when the source codes begin to talk to the solar rays, and we play it out in the flesh, right? And it happens in the stars, as above, so below. We just walking in the pattern that we reading the energy from the stars.
Right.
All the people of the earth make up the total number of stars you see in the sky.
Right.
Right. So at least the ones that's in visual sight. The ones that's going to be born later, you probably can't even see their star yet. Right. So they'll run those codes. Those are star codes. Right. And the Milky Way galaxy is a accumulation of stardust that formed into what we see in front of us.
Interesting.
Right.
Let's get to another question, y'all. I'm a while Rod is answering this next question, I'm gonna post that video that Rod sent me. I got the full video. I'm gonna post it in the chat for y'all. I seen somebody asked about it. Somebody said, what about this polar vortex coming next week? What's that about, Rod? You heard about that?
I haven't looked into it yet,
Okay.
but I think that's that cold front. They warning about that freezing cold front. The Earth is terraforming right now.
Yeah.
It's literally in real time terraforming. You could see grass in Mecca in the desert. It's all green pastures, right? Then in certain places that was barren, there's water springs sprouting up. And certain places that was lush greenery getting mudslides. The earth is changing. And a lot of the women can feel it.
Yeah, you know how you talk about I'm trying to find this link for the people. You know how you talk about you was talking about Arizona. Yeah, it's funny. As soon as I'm about to talk about Iceland, this person that's how this synchronicity. What the hell is the deal? You talk about Arizona being where the ancient Egyptians was and shit like that. What's up with Iceland, man? I got this interconnection to Iceland. What was Iceland in antiquity, man? I fucks with Iceland. I want to go there, man. Any info about Iceland?
You need to get Ivan Van Sertima African presence in early America. Because he talk about the pygmy people that used to live in the underground in Iceland and Greenland.
Okay.
Right. They not there no more.
Right. You know, I was talking to Billy the other day about a couple of weeks ago. We did a show. And the solar flares that the sun erupts. What is when a volcano explodes, erupts? What can you attribute that to? Is something going on in the inner earth or the inner sun that's causing?
You ever had a pimple before?
Yeah.
That's your volcano on your face.
Mm-hmm.
The volcano is getting rid of, it's a pressure release valve. They all over the planet. Right. If you got a magma layer under the plates, and the magma layer is cooking.
Right.
And is melting the plates. Right. And so it builds up pressure over time. And it breaks out in a sore, a pimple. Right. And the more pressure, when it break out, the greater the eruption. You've seen people with pimples that ooze.
Right.
Yeah, that's a volcano just running over. Comparative analysis will always help you understand a little bit better.
Yeah, wow. Family, I just posted the link. You check out this video, you'll be able to estimate the exact time of this window, this 6-hour window that's going down on the 15th. Y'all can do all the homework on yourselves, but I just gave y'all all the keys right there. So check that out. And just for more information on this alignment that Rod is talking about that's happening, once again, shout out to Rod for sending me that video. But definitely check out that video. We're gonna take one more question. What time is it? Then we're gonna get out of here. Let's see. All right, this brother wants to know. I've seen this question a couple of times. Should we still pursue worldly goals at this time, such as fitness, building wealth, getting certifications, etc.?
Any self-improvement is encouraged. Anything you can learn it. Right? The only thing that I would say is don't let nobody trick you into signing no paperwork. It's paper chain.
Right.
The rest of it, go get your knowledge. Go get, physical fitness is part of overall healthcare or self-care. The better physically fit you are, the less likely you are to have a critical ailment.
Indeed. All right. Listen, with that being said, and I want to share the brothers, we about to get out of here. Let me share the brothers cash out one more time before I get out of here. Because I seen somebody else had mentioned it, but I didn't want to interrupt the show. Sick. Shit. Hold up, y'all. $SI. K-A-P-E. Once again, for those who asked a little while ago for the brother's Cash App, if y'all would like to show the brother gratitude, he talked about gratitude. His Cash App is $ capital S-I-K, capital A-P-E. All right, family. I appreciate it. We got almost 4,000 people in the chat. I appreciate everybody for coming out. What a show, y'all. What a show. Y'all got the link in the chat. Watch this over if y'all need to. Sisters, Rod told y'all sisters what y'all need to be doing out there. You know what I'm saying? Go to the spa if you can. You know, brothers, y'all know what y'all got to do. We got our assignment today, y'all. We got our assignment. Rod, before we get out of here, how can they contact you? You on Instagram? Where you at, Rod?
It's easier to find me on Instagram, but or my Facebook, I'll be there too. Rod Hayes on Facebook. My profile picture change often. And it's the Sick Ape on Instagram. The same as my Cash App with THE in front of it.
Indeed. All right. With that being said, I want to thank everybody. Rod, thank you once again, my brother, for coming through. A great conversation with you the other day. Great conversation tonight, as always, my brother. Look forward to seeing you again soon, my brother. And enjoy the 15th, my brother. Enjoy that window. Tap in, my brother.
I just want to know what's gonna happen because I don't know what it's going. I don't know what it's gonna look like.
Yeah,
you know,
indeed.
And what the rollout gonna look like in the aftermath. I'm just anxious to see it.
Facts. Yeah, we're gonna talk soon after that, after the 15th. We're gonna probably talk before the end of the month and do an update or whatever. But family, we'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody. Peace, family. Peace, Rod.